audio article by the Common Constitutionalist entitled Government Giving Away Millions for Urban Farms. The city of Chicago will be receiving $1 million to set up urban farms. It's part of an overall federal government giveaway by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA. Chicago's new Growing for Chicago initiative is one of 45 projects to be awarded a total of $26.6 million this year through the U.S. Department of Agriculture's annual Conservation Innovation Grants. Naturally, the first thing that comes to mind is to ask what authority the USDA has to give $26.6 million of federal taxpayer dollars to black holes like the city of Chicago. But that's a silly question. They have no authority whatsoever. So what? What does that matter anymore? I'm sure the funds were tucked away in the massive farm bill that no one ever reads. Second is that this is obviously not a one-time thing. As the Chicago Tribune states, the money is part of an annual giveaway. Now, they don't say giveaway, that was me. So this giveaway happens every year, but no matter, I'm sure it will go to the cause it claims to, growing for Chicago, and not just to line politicians' pockets or used in crony corporatism scams. We can trust them. After all, it is the federal government and the city of Chicago we're talking about, both run by well-respected and honest administrations. The plan is to turn a stretch of abandoned rail line in the Englewood community of Southside Chicago into an urban farm. Englewood is one of 77 communities in Chicago and has the current distinction of having the 7th highest crime rate in the city, so that's naturally the place I would choose to start a farm. Interestingly, Agricultural Secretary Tom Vilsack, in a press release regarding the grants, made no mention of giving money to the public sector. He stated that the Conservation Innovation Grant Program is a highly competitive conservation grant program that helps put the very best conservation tools to work on privately held farms and forests for maximum environmental impact. This investment will offer farmers, ranchers, and forest landowners new ways to protect their natural resources and new revenue streams to keep their operations viable, building on the record amount of conservation work that has already been done under this administration. I wonder why I never mentioned the public sector. Interesting. And don't think Chicago will alone receive money in their area. Just 2 hours south in Peoria, Fresh Coast Capital, a Chicago-based company, is also launching a new urban farming program. So, who you may ask is Fresh Coast Capital? Well, one of the co-founders was a community organizer for 13 years prior to starting this venture. Another co-founder worked for the EPA and, oh look, the Department of Agriculture. Yet another was a project manager at the National Resources Defense Council, a radical environmental activist group. It looks to me that the U.S. Department of Agriculture is doing what this government does so well, lining the pockets of their friends and associates while claiming to help revitalize these cities. One commenter wrote, "Will this money be audited by the federal government, or will it split up into the Democratic machine to get Democrats elected again? Lived here my entire life. State and federal money has long history of vanishing into the woodwork, never to be seen again. Poof, and it's gone." And my reply, of course there will be no audit, no follow-up, no scrutiny where the money actually goes, or whether it did any good, which it never does. This is just another phony, feel-good sounding program for the government to throw money at, because, as has been demonstrated time and again, government funding solves all problems. Another commenter asked where they might get the farming equipment. He suggested they forge plows out of weapons, being that Chicago is the murder capital of America. Though that's a great idea. The city of Chicago can offer a no-fault gun turn-in program. After you murder a rival gang member, rather than throwing your gun in Lake Michigan, you can turn it in to the city, which will have it melted down and made into farm equipment to plant crops. It's the Chicago circle of life.